Just made another video. It's way too long. I can't post that one. Too much rambling, too much incoherent stuff. I just want to mention, how funny is it that about 2 weeks ago I made a video, which was just totally dumb, about how I wonder if AI made the Bible. Now this week, all of a sudden, all these people are talking about how AI should rewrite the Bible. So, as if I didn't piss off enough people, the 4 people that watched my video, with my video, now they're really going to turn it up. But the reason I thought that is because I think that the private sector both made religion and they also made AI. So it's a natural idea that they would utilize all the information that they're gathering through AI, which serves the private sector, to have control and monopoly over society, to then come up with an idea for a new text. Because basically they have to have tiers of this controlling mechanism to control people, monopoly, development, all these kinds of things. So one of the tiers is the imagination tier, which is where the Bible comes in, which is a completely silly document if you actually sit down and read it. And if you actually look at the logic of it, it's a broken logic. And so that means that there's a disconnect from humanity that only a human could see. So why is that? So that's where I conjured up this idea that maybe AI already wrote the Bible. So the other thing is, the reason that the Bible has stayed around so long is the same reason that society, in this structure of a state and an empire and a monarchy, has stayed around so long. It's because it's a product of the private sector. So they developed this thing as a control mechanism, which was a next level society, which has the caste system, the class system. And so the class system is a funny little thing, because it's actually the thing that destroys society. Because society ultimately should have a quantification system where you can take in all the votes of all the people and have the vote be legitimate, and then have a process to have development based on what all the people wanted. Now that's tricky, so that's why it doesn't exist. But that's what you'd want. You would not want any human involvement in the process of government or power, because it leads to a minority of people facilitating control over the whole system. So right now, the private sector is that minority of people that delegates the development, that creates the cascading ripple effect of developments, that controls the actions of people all around the world. So I guess I'll leave it here before I go on too much. And just to mention, they're now talking about AI interfacing with the Bible, which I speculate already occurred in another time in history, or it was some kind of way of algorithmic thinking, to cause people to come up with this way of creating text, check the text with human eyes, and then add it to the book, for whatever purpose of controlling mechanism. So the mechanisms of control, one more thing I'll mention, is like one part of it is a spiritual reality, and one part of it is a more of a media tendency, but of course they work together at times. One part of it is your educational system. One part of it is the force of, let's say, the law of the land, where you have to do certain things just to survive because of the law of the land that's, of course, created by people. But that's the point of the Bible, is to make it seem like it was created by a supernatural force. Yes, there's a supernatural force that wanted a king to have like all these peasants drooling all over them, and then to have all these people working in slavery of multiple tiers for so many, however long the empire has existed. Because that's the fundamental flaw of the empire, is that it relies on the slavery. And the slavery is really another word for forced work. And so you can have it in multiple colors, or multiple ways of thinking about it. And so it doesn't matter that it's this kind of slavery or that kind of slavery. It's a way of forcing the animation of people in an artificial way that they would not normally naturally be inclined to do. And in fact, it breaks the nature of their behavior because of the forcing of this behavior by this artificial motif. So this is the problem of the structure of the empire. Now, that's what people are waking up to, that there's a force structure that's interrupting the natural system. Now, the problem also is fundamentally, it's a hard-coded dilemma of evolution of the age battle, of the sex battles, and of youth. Because we have like ignorance, we have people manipulating, and we have sexuality, the force of nature, that's manipulating at all times. This is the burden that you carry on your shoulders. This is why my shoulders have this dip, because this is the weight of the world, to figure these things out, to get to the root of it. Even though you can't necessarily do anything about the root, you can understand the causation that leads to the ripple effect, and maybe pivot. I don't know. We'll see. It's a crazy time.